Hey guys, it's me, Miss Norris, and today, in honor of Women's History Month, I'd like to share the story of an amazing woman named Emma Gatewood. In the story, Grandma Gatewood hikes the Appalachian Trail. We hear the story of Emma Gatewood. The story Grandma Gatewood hikes the Appalachian Trail was written in 2018 by Jennifer Thermes, and it tells the story of Emma Gatewood and her travels. If you're ready to hear the story, I'm ready to share it with you. Here we go. Grandma Gatewood hikes the Appalachian Trail. And so you can see in the front of this book a map of the Appalachian Trail, and it starts down here in Georgia and goes all the way up to Vermont. That's a long ways. Here's a close up of Grandma Gatewood taking a look at all the scenery after one of her hikes. Between 11 children, the clothes to wash, the cow to milk, the garden to tend, the occasional tramp passing through to feed, and one husband, Emma Gatewood rarely got a break, but sometimes she found a way to escape. A long ramble through the hills behind the farm was all Emma needed to set her heart right again. So, Emma Gatewood's a busy lady. She has a large family and a big farm to take care of. In the spring of 1955, when Emma was 67 years old and her children had all grown up, she left her home in Ohio and set out to walk the Appalachian Trail. Called the longest footpath in the world, the trail stretched along the mountaintops from Georgia to Maine. Emma had read about it in a magazine. The magazine said no woman had ever hiked the entire length and that it was easy. Besides, it was what she wanted to do. Emma didn't tell her family where she was going, but no one worried. After years of hard work on the farm, they knew Emma could take care of herself. So, after Emma's children have all gone and grown up, and she's 67 years old, she decides to do something that no woman has ever done: hike the entirety of the Appalachian Trail. The Appalachian Trail is about 2,190 miles long and passes through 14 states. It follows the chain of mountains known as the Appalachian Mountains, which are over 480 million years old. It takes about 5 million steps to walk it. It takes about 5 million steps to walk the entire trail. So, down here in May 1955 is when Emma starts walking. And we'll see how long it takes her to go all 2,190 miles. That's very far. Emma wore canvas sneakers and carried a homemade sack packed lightly. She ate berries from the side of the trail and drank from cold mountain springs. She rested under trees and on top of rocks warmed by a fire. Some nights the sky was so big and dark that Emma was afraid to sleep. Other nights she curled up on a soft bed of leaves with plenty of mice to keep her company. Emma hoped to avoid meeting a bear. But she did, once, and chased him off by hollering as loud as she could. So she sleeps outdoors. She finds comfort with other creatures, except for the bear. She hollered and made him run away. The trail ran over hills, across streams, alongside roads, and through small towns. At times, the woods felt like a long green tunnel. Sometimes Emma lost her way, but even without a map, she always found it back again. Some mountain farmers didn't know what to make of Emma with her hair like a wild woman after days and nights on the trail. But most gave her supper and a cozy place to sleep. She often found the kindliest welcome from the poorest of families. Word traveled as she wound her way north, and Emma soon became known as Grandma Gatewood. So wherever she was going, if there was a little town or a home, those people sometimes offered her a place to stay and a meal. And she said that she found that the people who had the least to give are the people who gave the most. Harpers Ferry, West Virginia is headquarters of the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. For this reason, it is called the psychological midpoint of the trail. So West Virginia is in the middle of the trail, and it's where the headquarters of the Appalachian Trail Conservatory are. Emma scrambled up and down steep hills carved by glaciers that had melted millions of years ago. The trail wasn't quite as easy as the magazine article had said. For some fool reason, they always lead you right up over the biggest rock to the top of the biggest mountain they can find, said Emma. The weather turned from brisk and windy to hot and sticky and buggy, to soaking wet to sunny, sometimes within a few hours. But Emma kept walking. Some days were rather dull. Other days, dun dun dun, the views went on forever. So sometimes the weather changed a lot, and sometimes the views just stretched out before you, and some days it was just kind of boring. Pennsylvania is known as the state where boots go to die. Part of the trail are covered with sharp rocks that are hard to walk on, called Felsmeer, which means sea of rock in German. So once she got up to Pennsylvania, she's almost to Maine. It's up here somewhere. And there's a place that has really sharp rocks, and apparently it kills your boots. Rocks tore the soles of Emma's shoes, so she held them together with tape. She tried wearing a pair of men's leather boots, but they were big and clunky and slowed her down. Emma chatted with everyone she met along the way, and when the newspapers heard about her big adventure, reporters met her at almost every stop. Soon it seemed as if the whole country was curious about why an old lady would want to walk all that way by herself. Emma answered, "Just for the heck of it," and she kept on walking. So she held her shoes together with tape. She tried stronger shoes, but they slowed her down. And when reporters asked her what she was doing, she said, "I'm just doing this for the heck of it." By late summer, Emma was over halfway done with the trail. She had no idea that a huge hurricane was racing up the East Coast. So a hurricane is a big storm, to say the least. And she's about halfway. But look at these clouds. Dun, dun, dun. What is she gonna do? The writer Herman Melville thought Mount Greylock looked like a great white whale in the wintertime. It inspired his famous novel, Moby Dick. So she just kept on trucking and kept on going through Connecticut and Massachusetts and Vermont. The storm hit hard. Rain soaked the land and rivers washed away homes. Trees cracked in the wind, smashing to the ground. Emma didn't hear news of how much damage had been done since she was deep in the forest. For her, it was just another day of foul weather. She slipped on a ledge and twisted her knee, but kept slogging through the wet mud. She tried to cross a rain-swollen stream, but it was flowing too fast, and Emma couldn't swim. Emma was tired. So she walked, just thinking it was another bad day of weather. But when she got to a stream that was moving too fast, Emma said, "I'm just tired." You think she's going to give up and go home? She found a crowded shelter with a group of teenage boys from the city. The hut was tiny and damp, but Emma enjoyed their company and they liked hearing her stories. The next day, they carried her across the stream. She was on her way again. Emma clung to two young men hiking together across a swift-flowing river gorge. She traveled a ways with a troop of Boy Scouts. She was even invited to tea by a note that someone had pinned to a tree. All along the trail, people helped Emma. But after a while, so she met some teenagers that helped her cross that stream. She held on to some other guys when they were crossing a gorge. She stayed with some Boy Scouts and was invited to tea on a tree. But after a while, she was just glad to be alone again. Wow, look, imagine sleeping under all those stars with no street lights to get in the way. The second fastest on land wind speed ever was recorded in 1934 on Mount Washington at 231 miles per hour. It broke the record books and the anemometer used to measure the wind. So as she's going on Mount Washington, there is the highest wind that has ever been recorded. But still, she goes through New Hampshire and Maine. As Emma traveled farther north, the pine trees smelled like coming winter. She balanced on mountain tops, scared the wind might blow her off. But she kept on walking. By now, she had almost reached the end of her journey. Park rangers ferried her across a wide river. Just one more mountain to climb. So she's got help everywhere, but winter is coming, and she has one more mountain. Emma wore every piece of clothing she carried, plus a coat someone had left behind on the trail. Her last pair of shoes was in tatters. It was bitterly cold. She could barely see through the thick fog, and the eyeglasses she had cracked in a fall. Her knees ached and her ankle was sprained, but Emma climbed, crawled, and pulled her way up the mountain until at last she reached the top. Emma sang a verse from America the Beautiful as loud as she could. She had set out to hike the entire trail by herself, and she did. Less than 2 years later, she would do it again. "I wanted to see some of the things I missed the first time," said Emma. The end. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the story of Emma Gatewood, or Grandma Gatewood as she was come to be known, please hit that thumbs up button at the bottom of the page. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me. If you're not a subscriber yet, please click that subscribe button down at the bottom of the page, and don't forget to click the bell so that you're notified when there's new content. I would like to say a big thank you to the Howie family for entrusting me with so many of their special, wonderful books, and I hope to see you all again real soon. Bye-bye.